The ruins of the fated Pomp Estates are a battleground of endgame creatures. Here we'll find Deathclaws fighting albino scorpions, or in my case, 2 sentry bots. Taking the road northwest, we find endgame creature after endgame creature. Without my mothership Zeta weapons, these albino scorpions are much more difficult. The endgame goal for me now is to escape an encounter like this without my companions being killed. Especially Crimson. She dies way too easily. But if we follow the road northwest of the fated Pomp Estates long enough, eventually we spy the ruins of a church off to the northeast. As we get closer, we see movement in one of the windows, and then...
You like that?
Someone is firing on us. Creeping closer, we can hide behind a car, which is admittedly not a very bright idea. It was a drifter, but he was wearing a strange outfit. Why did he open fire on me? As we go to explore the graveyard, we discover Dickerson Tabernacle Chapel. The gravestones are sadly too weathered to read, so heading through the front door, we can loot the shredded remains of this drifter. Rummaging around one particularly big chunk, we find a finger. Oh, okay, well, he was a bad guy then. And the Oasis druid hood, the Oasis exile coordinates, and the Reservist's rifle. We can examine the coordinates as a note in our inventory. Encrypt Bay Lane. Longitude 8347, and then it's garbled, asterisk ampersand $sign, latitude 324897.347. With these coordinates, we discover the Oasis location on our map. Oasis. Is that the place that Three Dog was talking about with trees? We'll have to head that way in a future episode. The hood he was wearing is called the Oasis Druid Hood, and it's not very impressive, only having a DR of 2. But the unique thing about this hood is that it looks like nothing we've ever seen before. It certainly doesn't look like a pre-war piece of American clothing. It doesn't look like something a scavenger would make either. If anything, it almost looks medieval. The name of the item gives us the impression that it came from this Oasis location. So perhaps we can learn more about this hood if we travel there. But the greatest treasure this drifter was carrying is the Reservist's rifle. The Reservist's rifle is one of only 2 unique sniper rifles in the game. The other is the Victory Rifle, which I covered in my video on the Killer Family Holotapes Part 1, which you can watch by clicking here. But this one is arguably the best sniper rifle in the game. It shares the same base damage of all sniper rifles, 40, but instead of the knockdown special effect that the Victory Rifle had, this one has many more attacks per second, 1.61 compared to 1.07 of the Victory Rifle. That brings the DPS of the Reservist's rifle up to 64.3 compared to the Victory Rifle's 42.9. It also maintains the same critical chance multiplier of a sniper rifle, times 10, instead of the Victory Rifle's times 3. It also has a lower action point cost, 32 compared to 38, bringing the damage per action point of this weapon up to 1.3 compared to the Victory Rifle's 1.1. One of the things that makes this worse than the Victory Rifle is it has a much smaller magazine. It can only fire 3 shots before you have to reload compared to the Victory Rifle's 5. Additionally, it has lower durability, still much higher than a sniper rifle, but its durability is half that of the Victory Rifle, 125 compared to a Victory Rifle's 250. Still, the raw DPS of this weapon makes it one of the best long-range weapons in the entire game. Though I still have a soft spot for that Gauss rifle. Exploring inside the church, we find the skeletonized remains of a human behind a table, which had been flipped over as a barrier. Here we find a combat shotgun and 2 ammo canisters. If we look behind the pulpit, we find a bottle of vodka, and on top of the lectern, we find 5 bottle caps. Behind the other turned-over table is a stack of 3 more ammunition containers, one of which is locked with an easy lock, and between them is a copy of Guns and Bullets. There are a couple of beds. We find a crate with some Abraxo cleaner inside, and if we take the cleaner out, we find 2 stim packs hiding from us. And that's about it for the Dickerson Tabernacle Chapel. We walk away with some good loot and one burning question. What is this oasis? Why did the Drifter have its coordinates? And who made this strange-looking hood? We'll have to track down this oasis to find out exactly what's there in an upcoming episode. 'Tis the season, and I'm away from the office for a while, so I whipped up a bunch of these Fallout minisodes to tide you over until I get back. If interested in my shirts, you can find a link to my shirt shop in the description below or by clicking here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you all have happy holidays.